This is part 2 for lesson 4.2, Linear Inequalities and Systems. Continuing on, we are now going to do two different inequalities. So the first one, we're going to graph in red. You can, of course, use whatever color you want. I'm going to do the second one in green so I can tell which one's which. So the one in red, I have a y-intercept of -8. My slope is 3/2, so I'm going to go up 3 and over 2. And I'm going to graph my line. Now, because it's an inequality, I have to think about, do I do a dashed line or a solid line? And am I going to shade above or below? So I'm going to decide to do a solid line because of the equal sign. And it says y is greater than, so I'm going to shade above. So I'm going to get my colored pencil and I'm going to shade over here. Now, you want to make sure you're not making a mess of things. So it's kind of hard to show you on this, but on paper it would look a lot better. So you can do a good job of shading. Remember, we don't want to make it so dark that you can't tell where your lines are, or if they're solid or dashed. Make sure that you can tell what the lines are. Okay, with my green, I'm going to graph the next inequality. So it says y equals -1/4 x plus 0. So I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go down 1 and over 4. And I'm going to make my line. Now it says less than, not less than or equal to. So I am going to do a dashed line. So I want to be able to tell that you have a dashed line, and it says y is less than. So think about the green line being the roof. Where is below? Below is all of that area. Okay, the next one we're going to do, again, I'm going to do red for the first one. So I'm going to put 9 right there. I'm going to go down 2 and over 1. I am going to do a dashed line because there is no equal sign on it. And it says less than, so thinking about the red line as a roof. If the rain's coming down, you're going to stand over here so that you're protected. So that's under the line, below. Okay, the next one I'll do in green. So this one's a vertical line. X is less than or equal to -4. So I'm going to go to -4. I'm going to make a solid line because of the equal sign. And then it says less than. So if I look at this being -4, where I have my intercept, over here is 0, that's bigger. Over here, like -10, that's smaller. So where it says less than, I'm going to do less than is over here. So I have two graphs on one graph. Two inequalities on one graph. Okay, so number 17, we're going to do what's called a system of inequalities. Inequalities. So what a system of inequalities is, I have solutions for that first one. I have solutions for the second one. What I'm doing is I'm finding solutions for both of them. So like when we did a system of equations and we found where the two lines intersected and that was a solution. With systems of inequalities, I'm going to find where the solutions for one of them are and where the solutions for the other one are, and I'm interested in where do they overlap. That's what I'm looking at. So what we did in the previous problems was just kind of a lead-in to that. We had two inequalities, and I'm looking for where the shading is overlapping. So in this particular one, where I have red and green, those are the solutions that are going to satisfy both inequalities at the same time. So let's go ahead and try number 17. I'll do the first one in purple. So I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to go up 1 and over 2. Okay, I'm going to do a solid line because there is an equal sign. So make that line, arrows on both ends. It says y is greater than, so above the line. So unfortunately, I can't do like shades of purple here, so I'm just going to shade this in, but kind of leave a little gap next to the line so you can tell where it is. Actually, maybe I'll do my line in a different color. I hate to get too many colors in here, but we got to see where the line is. Okay, then the next one I will do in green. So I'm going to start with -1. My slope is -2x, so I'm going to go down 2 and over 1. I can go up 2 and backwards 1. I'm going to do a dashed line this time because of because there's no equal sign. Arrows on both ends. It says y is greater than, so I'm going to shade above. So think of the roof, and where would the rain come down? It would come down on this side, so that's above. Okay, what I'm looking for is where is the red and the green and the purple, where do they overlap? So this section right here up against the line, over here, and then all in between. So these points in that section, those are the solutions. So just to kind of make it easier to see, I'm going to erase everything else so we can kind of see a little more clearly how that looks. And so on yours, a couple of ideas, you could do like one of your shading, like lines going that way, and then the next shading you could do lines going that way, and then so wherever it's overlapped, it's easy enough to see. Sometimes I like to do like red shading, and then over that, or then for the other one I'll do blue, and so where it's purple, it will be my solution. So again, you can look on the copied notes for ideas of how it should look. It'll be a little bit better than these drawings on this video. So one thing I shouldn't have erased was the rest of my line right there. That needs to stay put. So remember what this means is any ordered pair that's in this shaded region is going to be a solution to my system. Any of those points. Over here, those are not solutions. Over here, not solutions. Even though they might satisfy one of the inequalities, they don't satisfy both of the inequalities at the same time. And so you might have, like I have some that would satisfy the purple one. Like right here, they would satisfy the purple one, but they would not satisfy the green one. And so we're looking for where do they satisfy both of them. And as far as your solution, your graph is your solution. You don't have to write anything else. You don't have to do these little dots or anything like that. Just all the shaded part. Okay, let's try another one. Number 18. Y is less than or equal to 3, so that's a horizontal line. It's going through 3 on the y-axis. And it says less than, so we're going to be shading below the line. Y is greater than negative 4x plus 1. So negative 4x is going to be a slope of negative 4. Going down 4 and over 1. I'm going to have a dashed line for this one. Make sure you're using a straight edge and do a nice job with your coloring. This is your chance to have a pretty looking paper, so do a good job with the coloring. So this is my overlap. So if I'm the teacher and I'm looking at this, I need to be really careful or make sure that I can see your lines. Make sure I can tell if they're dashed or solid. And I should be easily able to tell where your overlap is happening. So if you need to darken this part in a little bit, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Okay, so darken it in a little bit just to make sure that we can tell where the solutions are. Okay, number 19, pause the video, do number 19, and then come back and see if you got it right. Okay, I've got my lines graphed. So again, as a teacher, I want to see that you have dashed lines. That should be very clear. I shouldn't have to say, is that dashed or is that solid? I can't really tell. That should not be a question I have. I should be able to tell that you have the right slopes and the right y-intercepts. You should have graphed above a line or below a line, and that's very clear that you know which way is which. I also should be able to clearly see where the overlap is taking place. So as I'm looking at your problems, I need to be able to see that you understand all of those things. Okay, number 20. Notice that I've got two special types of lines. One is vertical, one is horizontal. So pause the video, graph both lines or inequalities, do your shading, and then come back and make sure you got it right. Okay, I've got my x is greater than 2 in red. I've got the y is less than or equal to negative 1 in green. Notice that I can tell very easily that my red line is dashed, my green line is solid. I can see where my shading is. I did the red going one direction, the green going the opposite direction, and then the overlap of that is in the middle, not in the middle, but it's where I'm getting the lines going both ways. So keep in mind it's up to the line, but we need to, stay far enough away that I can see what type of line it is. Okay, the lesson will be continued in the last video for this lesson.